going on? Back with another Cold War Zombies video. And as they say, this is pretty much hot off the press. Something that I recently, literally minutes ago, just solved. So I had some images saved from a video I did a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago. And I'm going to recap it using some of that information that I had back then. And this kind of confirms a lot of stuff that I thought, which is pretty awesome. Like I try and tell people on Twitter, mostly doubters, haters, trolls, and simps for the big channels or big channel simps. People need to really start diving, even coming up with theories. Even theories will help you solve stuff. So this literally minutes ago, I solved it, and it's actually super duper exciting because pretty much up until this point, probably like most people, we've been grinding weapon camos, trying to get dark ether camos, or do a multiplayer war zone and stuff like that. A lot of people really haven't been too invested in the storyline. Like I said, the gameplay for Cold War is pretty nice and pretty good this time around for this game. So a lot of people just have been having fun playing the mode and the games. So to find a really big solve or an Easter egg, I guess you can say, for the storyline, it actually gets me interested in it. And plus, I just finished the battle pass and I just ranked up to tier 200. So I'm actually starting to get a little bit more invested into the storyline. So like I said again, I'm going to do a recap from stuff that I mentioned or talked about weeks ago, but this solve confirms it. And I always tell people how I know it's a solve is by, maybe one or two things um, might be coincidence, but when you find a bunch of stuff that all jives together perfectly, or it could just be like a slip up or like an oopsies from Treyarch. Um, Maybe they didn't know that stuff might actually gel together or might actually be connected in some way. So as you guys know, Firebase Z came out about a month ago, and back in, and funny enough, if this is even in Kino der Toten, if we get Kino in the new Cold War Berlin Germany map, this is going to confirm it even more, add another layer of confirmation. But if you're not familiar with it, if you're new to zombies, in the original Aether storyline in Black Ops Kino der Toten, the first map I believe was on disc. If you go to the dressing room, there's a sign that says Samantha, Amelia, Abigail. Abigail being Misty from Black Ops 2, Victor's crew. Sam being Sam. So it looks like Amelia or Emilia, but it's probably going to be pronounced as Amelia, is actually turning out to be Sam's middle name. Because I'll show you what the solve is, and everything, like I said, jives perfectly or connects perfectly. Again, I usually confirm it as a solve if I end up saying, wow, that's pretty clever, because Treyarch hides and does Easter eggs so cleverly. That's why a lot of people don't solve them. And a lot of people hate on people that do solve them, because you have to be really intelligent, really smart to solve some of this stuff. So again, keep in mind, Samantha Amelia looks like it's going to be Samantha's first name and middle name. Abigail, I guess, was just a hint to Misty. So that's a little bit of a backstory from about maybe almost 10 years ago now. And again, Kino was in Zombie Chronicles and Black Ops 3, and it did also have the same writing on the wall. So again, really quick recap: Amelia being just a name, but down here you want to have, if you can see the mouse, I'm gonna have it here. If you go to the etymology, it says Amelia is a feminine given name derived from Amalia, Aemilia. So those names, I guess, as it's saying, is a little bit synonymous. If Treyarch had spelled it Aemilia, it would have been a little bit too obvious, and I guess in a way it might actually be a cryptic cipher of some sort. A small, easy, and back then they were actually really easy. In a Latin name meaning Amelius. So anyways, keep in mind, Amelia and with the E at the beginning or the A at the beginning are kind of the same name. So it might have been cryptically done by Treyarch back then. Keep that in mind. So those are two things right there. When Samantha comes out of the Dark Aether portal in Firebase Z, um, again, probably another trick, red herring, or something to kind of trick the average player or gamer or Easter egg solver. Everybody thought, including myself, I'm like, oh, that's Takio. Maybe she's just they're paying homage to Takio or Takeo, whatever. But after knowing that, I'm gonna go back one more just to recap. Knowing that Amelia, keep that in mind. Keep in mind what she looks like when she came out there. I'm like, wait, that looks very familiar. So again, this is a recap from stuff I did weeks ago. But if you're new, and I'm trying to speed up through it, so if you see her, um, the goggles, the headset, the handkerchief, and her middle name, just keep those things in mind. What she looks like. Take a visual, a photographic, put it in your photographic memory. So what it was supposed to be is Amelia Earhart, and again, I'm gonna speed through it. You can research it on your own. Like I tell people, you really need to research stuff on your own. Amelia Earhart is probably the most famous female pilot in aviation history. Accolades for her aviation career. She mysteriously disappeared / got lost on in May 1932. And it says Earhart became the first woman and second person after Charles Lindbergh to fly nonstop and solo across the Atlantic Ocean. So keep in mind being the first woman and being the first woman to fly nonstop. And her middle name, her first name being Amelia, Sam's middle name being Amelia also, and they look the same if you kind of look at some of these images. Again, I'm trying to speed it up as fast as I can. I'm hoping that everybody's following along. But again, the song for Firebase Sea is Lost. Amelia Earhart plane Lost at Sea. That's what her plane looks like. Keep in mind what her plane also looks like down here and everywhere. And this is Amelia Feared Lost. So keep all those mental notes. And probably right here. Actually, no, the next one. So keep the goggles and stuff in mind, and what she looks like compared to what she looked like when she came out of the Dark Aether. This is her plane over here, a big metal plane. Keep in mind the goggles again and the headset that she had coming out of the Dark Aether portal. Mimicking or paralleling Amelia Earhart and a pilot in real life. So here are some more stuff with the red scarf. She has a red scarf coming out of the Dark Aether portal, has the goggles and headset. Everything looks exactly what she looks like when she came out. Obviously, they're probably not going to do it exactly. And keep in mind, Amelia was the first person to fly an airplane. And keep in mind, Samantha Max is probably be the first person to go into the Dark Aether. First woman probably to go into the Dark Aether. Maybe they'll talk more about that later. Here's just some more photos. Again, her with the goggles and headset. Cartoon versions of Amelia with the red scarf. Keep all those in mind. So this is stuff also from the original Solve a couple of weeks ago. So when you're in Zetsubo Nishima, there's all these downed airplanes, and there's an airplane that gets downed. So my theory back then was that's probably Sam maybe went back, and they're trying to maybe connect both Aether and Dark Aether. So, and then paralleling also on the left is Pompeii, Zetsubo Nishima. On the right is Amelia Earhart's airplane went down in the same exact region. Probably something that we maybe should have solved back then. But I was not into Easter egg solving, didn't know much about it back then. I kind of started around Zombie Chronicles time, I guess. I didn't play Infinite Warfare Zombies, so I was kind of using that downtime to look into the Aether storyline. But Pompeii, somebody circled here on the left. New Guinea is here, and on the right, Leh is, I guess, the capital or city in New Guinea. That's where Amelia's plane left, and then she got lost in the same area as Pompeii. Again, just to recap, you go here in Zetsubonoshima in Pompeii, you see what looks to be like maybe them paralleling Amelia's plane crashing, or maybe tying the storylines together that Sam may have went back and using the Dark Aether to help out the Primus and Ultimus crew. So keep that all in mind. Here's another image, Pompeii on the left, New Guinea. New Guinea on the right is where Amelia's plane crashed. So trying to move along as fast as possible. I know it's been like already 11 minutes, but Valentina is now the new Russian character. Up until this point, and I don't know which way Treyarch's gonna go. I'm gonna assume she's not gonna be a bad character. I don't think they're gonna do what I think they're gonna do, because they wouldn't make somebody look bad. So it says Dr. Alexandra Valentina is a character featured in Cold War. She's a high-ranking member of Omega Group, so she might actually, plot twist, spoiler alert, might be the mole. I don't think Treyarch's gonna make her the bad guy, and you'll see exactly why. She's a high-ranking member of Omega Group and serves as the organization's lead scientist in the psychotronics research. So that's just to give you the name Alexandra Valentina. So it looks like, keeping how everything parallels in real life, and this is the real life Valentina Tereshkova. She is, if you read it here, she's from Russia. She was an engineer, former cosmonaut. She is the first and youngest woman to have flown in space. So all those things matching up to what, or paralleling maybe the Russian version, like US versus Russia, how Sam was the first, or Amelia Earhart was the first on the US side, but on the Russian side maybe being more advanced, how or down the road, that the first woman was Valentina Tereshkova. So, like I'm saying, I think there's going to be a huge plot twist. Valentina's going to end up being a good guy, or good girl, or good person, not necessarily being a villain, maybe, or something along the lines like that. I don't see Treyarch using a real life person as a villain, and she is actually still alive. She's still living in Russia, and um, she is a politician. But keep in mind, like I said, okay, I'll keep reading. Before her selection for the Soviet space race, Tereshkova was a textile factory worker and an amateur skydiver. She joined the Air Force, and she became a cosmonaut. Again, a lot of the stuff I'm just letting you guys know if you want to go ahead and read it about it. But that's pretty cool that Treyarch is using real people from real life to kind of tell the story. And it's about, I guess, women, and maybe the first woman to fly, and then the first woman to go to the moon. And I think I'm still waiting, because I think Vandahar hinted something about the moon. So maybe Valentina from the Cold Aether, maybe somehow she'll end up going to the moon, or maybe go with her into the Dark Aether. I don't see them using her as a bad guy if it's based off of a real person, unless it's just kind of like a funny little Easter egg of sorts. Again, this is her, and there's a lot of these images in Cold War, but I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna go too much longer, but I think it's pretty cool to see where Treyarch might be going. Paralleling like US and Russia, and the first woman to fly, and then the first woman to fly in space. I think that's pretty cool what they're doing. I'll see you guys later.